Hi everyone, this is Arpad from Starpath Academy, and I have contacted someone from Venezuela, and she was very kind enough to agree to an interview. However, her internet connection and even electricity was not stable enough for us to have a live interview. So what I did was to pre-record some questions for her, and she was kind enough to answer them. So that is what follows, and it will be a multiple series of videos, and I will be hearing these answers the first time as well, most of them. So I will sit through her answers, and at the end of the video we can talk about it. Please pay attention to her answers, and please try to read between the lines for some knowledge and for some truth that what has happened in Venezuela through a societal and an economic collapse. Now we will listen to her answers, and after that we'll have a little discussion about what she said. So please join me for that on a members video. However, for now, let's just listen to her answers. I will link to her channel in the description of the video. You can find her on YouTube. You can find her on Gumroad. She has a couple of books for sale that she has written. She is a teacher, so please check them out and consider buying them. You can also find her on Buy Me a Coffee, so I will have a link to her that as well. Now let's go on and listen to the video. Hi everyone, this is Arpad from Starpath Academy, and today I have a very special guest on, Marielle. She is a teacher from Venezuela. She has witnessed the collapse of the Venezuelan economy, and she is currently living in Venezuela. I invited her to the channel so she can talk about her experiences and her first-hand knowledge about the collapse in Venezuela. Marielle, thank you very much for coming to the channel.
So thank you for having me. I'm hoping that these answers that I give you will help clarify certain situations here, and they will also help people to make better decisions in terms of their planning. So, thank you again for the opportunity, and let's get this going.
When Romania went through a high inflation period in the 90s, there was a lot of shortages, including gasoline and basically every type of shortage, but one of the biggest one was gasoline. People could not get gas at the fuel pumps. Could you please talk about that experience? What is the experience in Venezuela regarding gasoline?
So the shortage of gasoline, well, quite frankly, the gasoline problem is an even bigger problem for us. Historically speaking, we had the cheapest, and I do mean the cheapest, gasoline in the entire planet. In the year, 2000, when Chavez was in power, you could fill up your entire gasoline, tank for your car with 1 cent. Gasoline was one of those, there is always in society, depending upon your culture, there is one or two things that will break the government. And it's usually hidden. People will not know what they are until they are facing that choice. So whenever there was any kind of government before Chavez that said, okay, I do not think that we should have gasoline worth one penny for a full tank in your car. Oh my God, you are a politician, right? I mean, that's what people will ask. Are you a politician? Don't you know that people will see you on the street and probably burn you alive because you dare telling that gasoline should be paid for in Venezuela? Come on, we have oil. If we walk, there is oil there. And so you want to charge for that? Oh, hell no, you are going down. And oh my God, all of the governments that dare even mention this topic, it was just gone, period. And so Chavez took power, and he said that the people that were handling the oil industry were conspiring to make the gasoline, 10 cents the tank or something like that. And so he got all of the people to side with him because he was protecting the idea of 1 cent for the freaking gasoline. So at this point, we had the first ever shortage in gasoline in my country. But it was planned, and people actually supported it, and people loved it because the oil industry was evil, because they were going to charge 10 freaking cents instead of 1 cent for the freaking gasoline. Fill up your tank for 1 cent thing. So basically, it made Chavez look like a hero, and it divided the country, literally. But people got a kick out of it. People actually liked it because you were in the line, you were making friends, you were making barbecues, you were spending 4 days in your car, but you were okay because you were listening to music. There was no shortage in anything else, just the gasoline, and it was a political thing, so you took a side and you didn't care. However, you were making a practice run, because if you're going to spend 4 days in your car, now you know what the hell to take, what not to take, what works, what doesn't, and what kicks you and what doesn't, and whatever the hell. So virtually everybody who had a car already knew what to do and what not to do in a 4-day waiting for the freaking gasoline to arrive so that you can get gasoline. So, by the way, at this point, people also learned how to bribe, and they also learned, how to skip lines and who to talk to and stuff like that. So basically, it was a fun trial for the shortages because everybody wanted it. Now, after that, the gasoline was regular thing. It was a normal thing. And then we had a second problem with the gasoline. The second problem with the gasoline started because we had a national power outage. When we had the national power outage, it was major, and people needed gasoline and diesel for their generators. And since the gasoline and the diesel is nearly free, I mean literally, you could fill up, your 5-gallon container and it will cost you 1 freaking cent. So people took, 10 cents, 20 cents, so they fill up, these whole 20-gallon things, whatever gallon things. I mean, it was insane. They put it in the trunk and then they went home. Yeah, you're not supposed to do that with gasoline. So a hell of a lot of fires started to happen. A hell of a lot of explosions started to happen. Virtually every single week you will hear at least of one building going into flames, or at least one house going into flames, or at least, oh crap, it was horrible. And at this point, people were pissed at the gasoline, not at the power outage or whatever. Oh hell no, people were pissed because of the gasoline. So they were like, we have a fire because there is gasoline that people are putting in their trunks. And why? Because gasoline is cheap and it's free. If it was not free, you will not be able to put 100 liters of gasoline. You will probably put 20. So this will not happen. So people started telling other people that gasoline should be paid fully. And it was insane because now if you had gasoline and you were able to get it, you will have people snitching on you because gasoline is now not associated with freedom and all of that. and pride of being Venezuelan or whatever. Now that gasoline is associated with fire, and it is associated with you being a stupid person because you bought gasoline. So at this point, the government decided to put international prices for the gasoline, and they put regular prices for certain people. So if you had a government's ID, which is not the national ID, but a new ID kind of thing that says that you supported Chavez or whatever, then you get to be in the gasoline that you can pay for 50 cents. But the other person will have to pay $2 or $1 or whatever. So this whole thing created three markets. It created the market that was legal, but it was cheap for the supporters of Chavez. And it was the market who was normal for the not supporters of Chavez or whoever had a national ID but not a government ID. And then the third market, which was the black market, which could or could not be counterfeited or could not be contaminated, depending upon whatever. So at this point, I can tell you right now that depending upon where you are, as to compare to the place in which the gasoline is being imported or the gasoline is being produced, you could look up to 4 days on a freaking line trying to get the gasoline. And that is if you were near these places. If you were farther out, you could get gasoline once every 2 or 3 weeks. And the gasoline that they take for a community once every 2 or 3 weeks will not be enough for all the cars in that community. So you will have to make a line, and then let's say that the gasoline is for 200 cars and your number was 210. Oh hell no, you are going to be now number 10 for the second part, which means that now you stay there for 3 weeks and now you have to wait another 3 weeks to get the gasoline. And that one is if the gasoline is available at all. If you go to other places, the gasoline, you have to stay in. Literally people will take turns to watch the cars and everything, because the waiting line can be a month for you to try to get gasoline. So now it's like, and even if you do this one, you get the gasoline or whatever, if for whatever reason you say, hey, I'm a doctor, I need more because, how the hell am I going to go to the hospital or whatever reason? Yeah, people will be snitching on the fact that somebody gave you more gasoline because you are a doctor. So basically, people will be fighting other people, and people will be snitching on other people, and people will be changing everything. So it's like a war. You either want to get the gasoline, but people that go into the black market or do whatever the hell it takes for the gasoline, you will have somebody that will ask, where did you get the gasoline, why, and all the stuff, and then they will snitch on the person that helped you or yourself or whatever. So it's like a very, very big issue in terms of that. And it is also a very big issue in terms of your time there. Because depending upon where you are, sometimes, like I said, you can be in a line for up to 4 freaking days. In my city, the longest that we have had to be in the freaking line to get gasoline, by the way, I don't have a car, but my neighbor had a car. And he used to, do these lines, for us and whatever. And he, keep in mind, this is a man that is over 60. And he has, some health issues, and yet he had to stay in the car, in the heat and everything for 4 days. I mean, the longest that he ever was in a line was 3.5 days, nearly 4 days. And it's insane. And in a country where, like I said, if you walk down the street and you dig a hole, for all I know, you're going to, be like in the movies, boom, you just found oil. Or you just throw seeds and then they will grow like if nothing happened, and you don't have to even care for them, so it's a land that is extremely blessed in all senses. And so, but now you cannot get anything. So yeah, so the situation with the gasoline hasn't stabilized yet. I don't know how long this problem might continue. I'm thinking that it will continue until they fix the problem in terms of the chemicals that are needed to produce gasoline and the chemicals that are needed to produce diesel.
All right, well, I hope you stayed through that video and paid attention, and especially paid attention on how society gets divided on these issues and how that is being used against the people, basically divide et impera, divide and conquer solution, as a means of control. I love the fact that how she goes into the mass psychology and what she thought, what she thinks now on these issues. Now, of course, we may agree, we may not agree with her. That's totally fine. But knowing what just an average person thinks, and how she reacted, and how she prepared is very, very important. So I'm really thankful for her answers. All right, let's continue with the videos. I'll upload some more questions and answers. In the meantime, please subscribe to the channel, subscribe to my Patreon. We'll have a discussion a bit later about this specific answer, and after each answer we'll have some short videos, and then either on Buy Me a Coffee or on Patreon we can have a conversation about what she have told us. Please feel free to check out her YouTube channel, her Gumroad, and Buy Me a Coffee. Thank you very much. We'll continue in the next video with some more questions and answers.